Welcome to QCC's Face the Region. Face the Region is produced by Quinsigamond Community College to assist our region in attaining educational, economic, and personal prosperity. Now, here's your host, WCRN's Hank Stoltz.
Good afternoon, I'm Hank Stoltz, and this is QCC's Face the Region on News and Talk Radio, AM 830 WCRN. And today we're speaking with Associate Professor of Biology, Ben Benton. We're talking about the opening of the QuEST Center, which has happened here. And Professor, thanks so much for stopping by.
It's great to be here, Hank.
So, Ben, listen, you are somebody who has actually given some tours. Tell us a little bit about the QuEST Center itself, what it looks like, and what it's going to do for some of the students here.
Well, it's a beautiful building. It's a 3-story building. As you first approach the building, you'll see this big glass front. We have 2 lecture rooms that are fully glass, so it's great because the students get a lot of light into that. And the other thing I've noticed about it is it's a much more open building than what you might traditionally see here at Quinsigamond. There are lots of windows. People can walk down the hallways. They can actually look into labs and see what students are doing. So on the first floor is an advanced manufacturing facility, and then on second and third floor are the floors that I work on. On the second floor is a biology floor, and then there's one physics laboratory. And on the third floor, we're dedicated to chemistry. And so all of those floors, especially the second and third floor, are to support our STEM majors here at Quinsigamond Community College.
All right, let's talk about those STEM majors. So students come here, science, technology, engineering, and math, such a great field, such a growing field, and of course here in Massachusetts, all about biotech. How about right here in central Massachusetts, in the Worcester area, the students who are coming through, who are going to be getting this education here at Quinsigamond, jobs for them, ability to stay here in the area?
Oh, absolutely. So one of the things that the leaders of the biotechnology companies here in central Massachusetts are trying to do is make central Massachusetts and Worcester in particular a biomanufacturing hub. So Cambridge and Boston, they are in the discovery phase of biotechnology. They try to discover new drugs, but what Central Mass wants to do is be biomanufacturing. Once things are discovered, once they're approved by the FDA, they're going to make the drugs that get packaged and get sent out. And so those types of jobs require a lot of students and a lot of workers who have associate degrees or they have certificates. So we feel that we're poised to in an ideal position here at Quinsigamond. We have AbbVie down the road, we have Shire in Waltham and Lexington, where we can train students in those skills and those competencies that those companies want in biomanufacturing, and that they will be able to step into that job need that is in those industries today here in central Massachusetts.
Fantastic. So you've been at the college how long?
I've been here for 4 years.
All right, so a student comes through 4 years ago, gets a great education here at QCC,
Right.
goes out into the workforce. Now, student comes today, 2016, gets to go into the QuEST building, and how is it different?
It's a lot different. So one of the things that's happened with the QuEST building, we were able to get over a $1 million grant from the Massachusetts Life Sciences Center to sort of go with the opening of the building. And what that has done is let us have state-of-the-art equipment that these students would find if they went to a biotechnology company. And the advantage for that is we train them on that equipment, and so then when they go and they look for a job, they're not intimidated when they see a piece of equipment because we've already trained them on that piece of equipment. And so these students can step right in, and they're going to be quick to adapt, quick to learn, and this is what employers want in the biotechnology field, especially in the biomanufacturing sector.
The students who are coming through here, are most of them coming right from high school, or is it really a variety in which there are some people maybe who are coming back, would be at the QuEST Center, and are in their 20s, 30s? I hear a lot now about people, of course, who are going into new careers, retraining.
Right, and I would say that 50 to 60% of our students are coming out of high school, or maybe a year out of high school. Maybe they've taken some time off, and they come in. Usually, they come in for our associate degree level. But we are getting a lot of people who have been out in the workforce for several years, and maybe for whatever reason, especially with the recession back in 2008, that their company they've been downsized, or they want to change careers, and maybe they have some manufacturing skills, but maybe they were in the traditional manufacturing sector in Massachusetts, and now they want to take those skills and apply them in a biomanufacturing setting. But what they need is this training in the science, the biology, the chemistry, and the math. And so that's where we have a certificate program that instead of going through a full 2-year associate degree, you would take your knowledge, your prior learning, and you add it to the science that we teach you, and then that would prepare you also for then trying to get the same sort of job in that biomanufacturing sector.
And and we said STEM, of course, is science, technology, engineering, math. QuEST is
Quinsigamond Engineering, Science, and Technology. Yes.
Terrific for the students. When you saw this building for the first time, and really being here 4 years, this has kind of been coming the whole time that you have been here. Now that it is finally here, you talked about the $1 million. You talked about the partnerships, obviously, to be able to have the equipment, to have the technology that the students are able to come in and learn on. Meeting your expectations, kind of what you had in your mind?
I think it's going to go beyond my expectations, because now that I can see the space and now I can see the equipment there, what this does is it inspires me, and with my biotechnology experience, to come up with a curriculum that is both ambitious but also meets the needs of the biomanufacturing sector. We're also not just focused on the biomanufacturing sector, though, because we have students who want to go into research, who want to go into discovery and biotechnology. An associate degree is not enough for that, so they need to maybe go and transfer to a four-year school, get a bachelor's degree, and then maybe get a master's and a PhD. So we prepare them for that career pathway by having them enroll in what we have a new major called liberal arts biology option or liberal arts chemistry option, and these are degrees in which prepares them to go and get a bachelor's degree in chemistry, in biology, and then they can take that degree and go into a biotech company and then maybe do more of the research end of it instead of biomanufacturing. So there are new majors that are going to start in the fall of 2016 at Quinsigamond Community College. There is a liberal arts biology option, there's a liberal arts chemistry option, and there's a liberal arts environmental science options. Now the chemistry and biology options, and all of those options, are for transfer to a four-year school like Clark University or the Worcester Polytechnic Institute or Worcester State University. And especially in the biology and chemistry majors, it's going to prepare them to go into career pathways where they might want to do a little research or do drug discovery in a biotechnology company where they might need a bachelor's degree or a master's. So it's a different career path than somebody who wants to get a job right away. But it's a career path that is seamless for them to start here for 2 years. Maybe it's cheaper to come here for 2 years, and then they can transfer over to one of the other four-year institutes in the area.
Very good. Hey, coming up, let's talk a little bit about the curriculum you're putting together and that students here are going to be able to go through for the QuEST Center. Get a little bit more into that and a little bit more into maybe some of the hands-on that they're going to be able to get into in the QuEST Center. And we'll talk a little bit about your background as well. We're visiting with Associate Professor of Biology Ben Benton here on QCC's Face the Region on News and Talk Radio, AM 830 WCRN. This is QCC's Face the Region on News and Talk Radio, AM 830 WCRN. I'm Hank Stoltz. Associate Professor of Biology Ben Benton with us, talking about the QuEST Center. It is open. Students are in there. Things are happening. And, you had mentioned a moment ago as we were talking about you've been here for 4 years, but a little bit about your background. So you come then from this field. You didn't begin as a teacher.
No, that's correct, Hank. So I was about 12 years in the biotechnology sector. I worked in a lot of startup companies, which I love to do because startup companies are a little edgier. They have to take a little risk. They do some of what I think are more fun things. And so in that role in these startup biotechnology companies, I would work on drug discovery. I would work with chemists to develop drugs that might be looking at different avenues to treat the disease. I would look in metabolic diseases like diabetes. I've worked in inflammation. I've worked in cancer. And the whole goal of startup biotech companies is just to find that novel route that maybe the big pharmaceutical companies haven't looked at to try to find a way to treat a disease. And so I was spending time in a lot of different small biotech companies in the New York and Boston area looking for those new dudes.
Boy, that is, that's fantastic. All right. Now, how does that background kind of inform what you're doing now as a professor and what maybe you're putting together for this curriculum now that you have the QuEST Center? And, this amazing segment. And to tell you the truth, I kind of just want to go over there on the second floor. I'll whiz right through the first floor with all of the manufacturing. I got to get to the second floor. Does this background kind of come into play then?
Oh, absolutely. So one of the things that I did when I was in the biotechnology sector was I was a group leader, and I did a lot of hiring, and I did a lot of hiring of associate level and bachelor level employees. And so for me, I knew what types of things I needed from those employees in order to be successful in my company. And so those are the things that I now teach my students in terms of when you're going to look for a job in the biotechnology sector, this is the type of things that they are looking for in terms of we want people who are fast thinkers, we want the math skills, we want these basic science skills that are going to make you successful in the biotechnology company.
Right. All right. Hey, that is fantastic. The students, we've got your reaction, and I'm guessing that the faculty very much, along the lines of everybody is so excited that it's here, and hopefully it'll exceed everybody's expectations. Right. The students themselves, they've had a chance to get in and kind of start to look around and kind of work around a little bit.
They're starting to look around. Yeah. We've talked to them about what they're doing now and what they're going to be doing in the other building. And I think there is that anticipation from them. I've heard from students who have just recently graduated and said, wow, I wish I had started 2 years later so that I could have worked in the QuEST building. Right. So there is an excitement among the students to really get into the building and work with this new equipment and to get trained and get those jobs that are out there in central Massachusetts.
So we're speaking with Associate Professor of Biology, Ben Benton. So somebody comes here, and with your classes, they're getting the associate's degree in biology?
In biotechnology.
Biotechnology. All right, so tell me a little bit about that.
So what we do, sort of the first year, we're trying to get them ready. We're trying to give them the basic fundamentals in science. And one of the courses that we do have is something called the Introduction to Biotechnology. And we require this of all of our students because a lot of students will come in and they'll say, wow, I want to get a job in biotechnology. I heard there are a lot of jobs in biotechnology in Massachusetts, and they may not even know what biotech jobs are in Massachusetts. So the goal of that class is to sort of give them a feel, this is what biotechnology is, this is what the companies do. And we look at both the business side of it and we look at the science side because that's how you become a successful It's not just the science, it's not just the business, it's the marriage of those two things that makes a successful biotech company. So we explore that. We try to give them some of the skills that they need in terms of being successful. We'll give them math skills. We'll go over career skills like interviewing or resume writing skills. So things that were going to help them to get to that job once they graduate with their associate
I hadn't even
degree.
thought about that. I mean, that's terrific. So I mean, the interview skills and the ways in which you're able to get out there and kind of present yourself. This is a highly competitive field right now.
Exactly. And so we want to try to give our students an advantage in that highly competitive field. And we know that how you present yourself at an interview, or if you're looking at a resume, if somebody looks at they have 30 seconds to look at your resume, and if they don't like what they see, it's gone. So we have to teach them, okay, this is how you write a resume. So somebody looks at it more than 30 seconds and says, yeah, this is somebody we're going to be interested in bringing in for an interview.
We had talked about some of the great schools that students at QCC can go on to. They might want to just get the associates and get right out into the workforce here in some of the companies around, but they can go on to some of the great schools as well. Are there companies that are actively working with you and with Quinsigamond Community College that you're sort of, feeding some of these students into?
Oh, absolutely. So we actually have a relationship with AbbVie in Worcester, and we have a course that we run with AbbVie, which is sort of like an internship course. So all of our students go over to AbbVie, they go to the actual manufacturing suite at AbbVie, and for 10 weeks, the employees of AbbVie are the adjunct faculty, and they teach them things that we cannot teach them at Quinsigamond. We do not have all that equipment here at Quinsigamond, so they get to see what it really is like to be in a manufacturing setting at a biotechnology company.
What a great experience for the students and hands-on. And boy, you talk about, it's one thing to be able to say, here's what you should put on your resume, or here's how you should present yourself in an interview. It's another thing for a potential employer, it sounds like, for 10 weeks to kind of get a look at you and maybe get to know you, and you get to know some people and make some connections.
Absolutely. And that's what we tell our students. It's not just that you may get a job at AbbVie, but they know people who know people at other biomanufacturing facilities. And you know how it is, Hank, getting a job, a lot of it is networking. It's who you know and who can introduce you to somebody else. They may not have a job right now, but maybe they know that in 6 months there will be one, and they'll remember you. So that's another thing we try to teach them, is that networking is very important in that job seeking
Terrific. Hey, we're speaking with Professor of Biology Ben Benton. We're here at Quinsigamond Community College. Of course, it's another edition of Face the Region, and we're talking about the QuEST Center and what it will do for our students, and talking, QuEST and STEM and biotech, and wrapping it all together so that the students here at Quinsigamond Community College are getting not only the best benefit of a great education, but listen to that program that we were just talking about, where you have that pipeline right into some of these businesses. We're going to wrap up our conversation with Associate Professor of Biology Ben Benton straight ahead on News and Talk Radio, AM 830 WCRN. I'm Hank Stoltz, and this is QCC's Face the Region. Today, we've been talking about QuEST, and this is something, the QuEST building, that we've been talking about quite a bit. We've really taken you on this journey over the last couple of years, where we've had people come in and talk about the funding. We've had people come in and talk about, the architecture. I mean, the actual building of this building, putting it together, how it's changing the landscape here at Quinsigamond Community College, how it's another great component to students getting the most that they can out of their education. And now, it's here. It's here. There have been actual tours of the building, and one of doubling as a tour guide. Associate Professor of Biology Ben Benton is with us. We've been talking about the QuEST building, and students, faculty, everybody walking through it. Hey, is everybody sort of buzzing about this? I've got to believe you talked about, you've run into some students who said, I should have waited a couple of years to be able to come. But I would think that for students and faculty and administration, just everybody involved in the college, the fact that you now have this great, beautiful new building, that things are continuing to happen here at Quinsigamond Community College, where there has been so much growth over the last decade, has got to have people buzzing.
Oh, it absolutely does. And one of the things that we want the QuEST building to be is sort of a focal point of STEM in Worcester. We want to be a partner with the four-year institutions. We want to be a partner with the biotechnology or the high technology companies in the local area. And I think it's not just the students and the faculty here. I think the companies and the community themselves are getting excited about this center, and we want that STEM center or that QuEST building to be sort of a focal point of all that interaction.
Well, yeah, that's one of the things that we talk about quite a bit here on Face the Region. We really do talk about these partnerships that Quinsigamond Community College has. And it's the partnerships, obviously, with the other schools. But even to go back to the beginning of our conversation, when you were talking about the $1 million and you were talking about the equipment that you have on the second and third floor where you are, that really came through partnerships, not just with the state and funding, but this really has come through a number of different sources to be able to sort of get the funding, get some of the equipment in there, and build these types of partnerships.
Oh, absolutely. The state had to come in to actually build the building. The state is part of the Massachusetts Life Sciences Center. The QCC Foundation has contributed money to a lot of the equipment, especially in the physics and the manufacturing. So, yeah, it's not one source of funding, and I'd like to thank Dale Allen, who's been phenomenal in trying to get all this money in and make this possible for Quinsigamond to have these cutting-edge, state-of-the-art laboratories that are going to help the students in the end be competitive in a high-tech field like biotechnology.
Yeah, and it is, it is so competitive out there. Do you find that most of the students who are coming, that they already know sort of where their interest is, or are they arriving, they'll take some classes in the QuEST building, for example, and they'll sort of find their interest?
I think they're pretty much a blank canvas when they come in. They sort of have an idea, biology, biotechnology. They know there are a lot of jobs in the biotechnology field, but they don't know exactly what those jobs are or what types of fields or what biotechnology companies do. And so I think part of the things that we do is we help to mold them. First, we have an introduction where we try to teach them, okay, these are all the different jobs, this is what biotech companies do. And then we take them and we teach them modern day techniques, we teach them modern day theory of the science and the biology behind it, so that they're not only just going in and following directions, but they actually understand the theory behind what they're doing, and then they can then become a contributor, because maybe they can then start quickly thinking about, how can I make this better? What can I do to help the company? And this is what companies value. They don't want necessarily somebody who's just going to come in and follow a script. They want somebody who's going to add value to the company, who is going to think maybe out of the box. And we think that the experience they have here at Quinsigamond is going to be a start on that process.
Yeah, how did you get we know that the 12 years and working in the field and then becoming a professor. How did you decide, or how did you get your interest in the biotechnology field?
So I have been interested in biology since I was in 8th grade. Yeah. It's one of those things that I would go out, and I remember my 8th grade teacher talking about this thing called deoxyribonucleic acid, and I thought that was such a cool big word, and I found out it was DNA. And that really, those types of interactions with my middle school and high school teachers really got me into the field of biology. And I did a lot of my doctoral work on how cells divide and what makes a cancer cell, and that was then a natural transition into biotech companies, which were working on the problems of not only understanding what a cancer cell does, but then trying to develop therapies that would treat cancer cells or treat metabolic disorders like diabetes.
Now, you talk about the students, the younger students particularly, coming from the high schools, who are sort of a blank canvas.
Right.
Do you sort of see yourself in a lot of them? I mean, where they would have had the same thing? Because to be honest with you, somebody would have said that word, and of course I'm running the other way, right? I mean, it's
right.
I mean, it really is. Are you interested or are you not?
Right.
You probably do know at an early age. Or are some students, it might be that they're awakened in college here at QCC to their love of biology.
I think that is true, Hank. And I mean, I think when they take their introductory biology class, which is sort of a survey of all the different aspects of biology, they might find one part of it. They might be introduced to a certain function of cells that they never knew cells knew how to do, and they said, wow, that's cool. Or we showed them cells under a microscope with all these wonderful fluorescent colors, and they say, wow, that is really cool. Look at those cells. I want to know more about those cells. So yeah, I think that type of thing can inspire them to become biologists or chemists here at Quinsigamond.
And that really brings us full circle back to the QuEST Center as well. When you go walking into that modern building that is the equivalent of anything that you're going to find on any college campus, really anywhere, and you're able to go in and say, hey, this is where I'm going to be learning. This is where I'm going to be spending the next couple of years of my life. For the students, I mean, I just think just the visual part of it. I mean, you just feel like, wow, I mean, this is top of the line.
Oh, absolutely. And like we have, one of the things that we have, I sort of mentioned, fluorescence microscope. This is, again, a high-end microscope that allows us to look at exquisite structures in cells, and all the students get to participate and do that every day. They become proficient at it. We have cutting and pasting of DNA. We cut and paste and analyze DNA all the time in our molecular biology classes. Sometimes we do sort of a mock-up crime scene investigation using the modern tools of polymerase chain reaction to try to figure out who committed the crime. So we try to set up scenarios and simulations, and we also do real-life things such as cutting and pasting of DNA to clone genes that really gets the students excited about the science. We don't want to just teach them techniques. We don't want to just teach them the facts. We want them to learn about biology, and we also help them see how biology affects their world. So we'll ask them questions. We'll have discussions of, okay, we've learned this new biotech technique. How's this going to affect the world? How's this going to affect society and government? So it gives them an idea. No, it's not just a job, but it's also part of a career that's involved, and it also involves them in their community.
Is that the reason that you sort of left the career path that you had to become a professor?
Exactly. I've always wanted to be a teacher. I went through the biotech field for 12 years, and I loved doing the science. But there was this quest that I wanted to be a teacher, and I got the opportunity about 4 years ago to change careers and become a teacher here at Quinsigamond Community College. And I love it. I love interacting with students who are 30 years younger than I am. It almost gives me a new lease on the youth that I've lost. And it's fun to, again, interact with those students. And I love this job because I love interacting with students. And I also feel like I'm doing something for the community and for the students by getting them trained and getting them ready for careers here in central Massachusetts.
Seems like a great place for us to leave it. Thank you so much for coming in, telling us about the QuEST Center, and giving us a little bit of a behind-the-scenes peek at the biology and biotech and what students can learn by coming here and being part of Quinsigamond Community College student body.
It was great to be here, Hank. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Associate Professor of Biology Ben Benton spending some time with us here today on QCC's Face the Region on News and Talk Radio, AM 830 WCRN.
This has been Quinsigamond Community College's Face the Region with your host, Hank Stoltz. Join us again next weekend on AM 830 WCRN.